Hello, sports card collectors. This is Rich from thePit.com. Today, we will be taking a look at several baseball cards under $5 that might be worthy of your attention. So, how do you find baseball cards, or really any cards, under $5 that are worth your attention? So, in a previous video, I had talked about Derek Carr in football. Now, his card just back in January of 2020 was only $2. It's now over $6, and the PSA 10 of his card went from about $13.50 to $75. So the trick is being able to identify the next card that will be the one to triple in price or even quadruple in price 5 times, 10 times, maybe even 20 times. Based on not just performance, but narrative. So the reason narrative is so important is that we can study all of the advanced statistics that we want to predict somebody having a good season. And yes, having a good season can certainly help. But I can't tell you how many times in my own life that I've invested in players with great stats, and I actually ended up losing money on them. And the reason being is that they didn't have a good narrative. For example, I'll use an example. Anthony Rendon. I started investing him at the beginning of last season because I foresaw the Nationals having a good year. Rendon had a career year. The Nationals won the World Series, and then he ended up signing with the LA Angels. And I'm still sitting on his cards. In fact, I'd actually sold a few off to free up some cash, and at like a 20% loss. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, well, why did I lose money? The truth is that Anthony Rendon just doesn't really have a great narrative. So how do you find players that have a good narrative, also have a pretty good career body of work behind them that are worth looking at? So in football, that example would have been Derek Carr. Of course, now his cards have significantly risen. So the way that I personally look for value now is the Pit actually offers a really great way to do this. So you select the sport you want, choose volume, and sort by descending. And then you can also choose a price point. So as I've said before, when I'm looking to get into a player, I set a limit for myself of $20, at least to start with. And so I don't want to be going and spending, $30, $40, $50 on one PSA 10 card. In fact, you could have spent $13.50 on a Derek Carr in January. I think even in March you could have gotten it for under $20. And that would have been smart because then you'd have $75. But see, hindsight is 20/20. So today I want to take a look at 3 cards that I feel like, just have a good potential. I'm not necessarily saying that you should buy these cards. What I'm saying is I want to show you what I see. So by doing volume descending, these are cards that have traded in great quantity on the Pit over the last 10-15 years. And of course, the Jason Giambi is number 1. This card was, I believe, one of the first cards ever traded on the Pit. And of course, Jason Giambi, back in the early 2000s, was a major star. So it's not surprising that his PSA 9 was a big deal. But of course, it's very unlikely he's even going to make the Hall of Fame now. So we don't have to worry about that. But you'll probably see 3 names that you very much recognize here. So we're going to take a look at these 3 guys: Madison Bumgarner, Andrew McCutchen, and Bryce Harper. So I'm not necessarily advocating that you buy these cards. I want to take you through the thought process of each of these. So we're going to take a look at Madison Bumgarner first. So this card hasn't sold in a while, which isn't very surprising. This card last sold for about $1.50 a while back. But the reason that this card is so interesting to me is, if you look at it, this is the first Bowman card from 2007 for a guy that's won 3 World Series. Now, just keep that in mind. Madison Bumgarner has won 3 World Series with the Giants. He's now joined the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are an up-and-coming team, a young team. And so immediately he becomes the ace of that staff. And yet we haven't really seen a lot of excitement. And part of that is there's been no baseball. But when these guys get going, if there is a baseball season and they're supposed to be starting at the end of July, Madison Bumgarner is the ace of that team. At least from a playoff experience and veteran perspective, he is the most accomplished pitcher. In fact, he's probably the most accomplished ball player on that entire team. So, as far as narrative, this is a guy who's won 3 World Series, and he's had a very good career. Maybe not quite a Hall of Fame career, but I mean, Bumgarner, he probably has another good 5 or 6 years left in him. And, it's possible that he finds he had a good year in 2019. It wasn't a great year, but it was good. He has had some injuries. He did have that, was it the dirt bike incident or the ATV incident? But, he's been a very good pitcher throughout his career. And, yeah, Arizona hasn't always been great to pitchers, but, I mean, look how Randy Johnson did there. Look how Curt Schilling did there. So, there's definitely a potential for his cards to really take off. And here's the beauty of the pit. So if you don't want to pay $2.50, you can always put in, a bid, say for $1.50. You can make an offer to buy and, however many you want. And there are enough on the pit that somebody might be willing to sell you some. And if you buy this card, for under $2, this is a card, if Bumgarner has a good season, I mean, this is a $4 or $5 card. And, because you're trading them on the pit, you don't have to worry about shipping them. You don't have to worry about, having to package them up or any of that. You can just sell them immediately. And then if you want to cash out, pay 10% PayPal cash out fee, or just take that money and just put it into another card. So Bumgarner to me, it just seems like a really interesting card to invest in. So next we'll take a look at Andrew McCutchen. This is his first-year Bowman card. So, of course, Andrew McCutchen, the star of the Pirates for a number of years. He went to the Giants and didn't really take off there. He did end up getting traded to the Yankees, where he did have a little bit of success. And then, of course, he went to the Phillies. And very, very early in the 2019 season, he went down with a knee injury. And so it looks like he'll probably be ready to play for the Phillies when the season starts, unless he ends up being one of the ones who sits out the season, which is possible. But Andrew McCutchen, he's been a very popular player over the course of his career in the hobby. McCutchen is one of those guys that he's a pretty good hitter. He hits for power, but really his main value for many years came from his glove and from his on-base percentage, which are not super sexy when you comes to the hobby. I mean, obviously being a good fielder, makes you popular, but he's a very valuable player, what you call a real life player, where he's more valuable in real life than he is in the hobby. And while obviously him coming back and having a really big year with the Phillies, which is totally possible, him coming out and doing well with the Phillies, you spend a couple bucks on this card, you buy 5 or 6 of them, the potential loss is pretty low. I don't know that I would personally buy this card, but there's definitely, I mean, he's had a good career. And, he still has, this year and a couple more years left in this contract with the Phillies. So if he can come back and, be a good hitter, that would certainly be a good thing for his cards. Again, I'm not necessarily advocating that you buy this card. I'm just saying that there's definitely very strong narrative potential there. He has a good year. People could get pretty excited about him in a hurry. And the last guy we're going to look at here is, in fact, McCutchen's teammate, Bryce Harper. So Bryce Harper, of course, had a huge narrative last year because he signed the biggest contract in baseball history to that point. It's going to be paying him until he was, 41 years old or something. Had a good 2019 season. It wasn't a great year. But, most people expect that he could end up having an MVP-type year for the Phillies. And, of course, with a 60-game season, it's possible he could. And yet you can buy this card for, $4. Now, yes, it is an off-brand 2010 JUCO World Series rookie, but I believe, if I remember correctly, this is actually his first ever official card. So I believe that this predates his Bowman cards. And it is a card that people buy. And I actually checked eBay right before I made this video, and this card actually is listed on eBay for $8 plus shipping at the lowest price. So thePit actually has a fantastic deal on these, and you can buy, probably 4 or 5 of these at $4, and if Bryce Harper has a good year, there you go. I mean, you can at least double your money if his card takes off. So again, that's just an easy double your money card if he has a good season. And of course, Bryce Harper's had a good career, and he's going to be around a long time. So it's hard to say. I mean, this is a guy who could still end up in the Hall of Fame. It's still possible. So I just wanted to show that to you guys. Sorry, it's been a little bit of a long video, but I wanted to just kind of give you my thought process. So I'm not saying that you should go out and just buy these cards right now. I just wanted to give you an idea of the potential, the kind of players that can certainly take off at that price. Now, I'm going to do this for football and basketball in future videos as well. So take care, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what cards you're excited about under $5. Happy collecting.